I gave my sister-in-law a pregnancy book, Unknowingly, exposing her affair with my husband's friend. Now the family's in chaos. I never thought a simple gift would cause such a massive explosion in my family. But here we are. My name's Emily. I'm 26. And I've been with my husband, Charlie, since we were just 16-year-old high school sweethearts. We got married last year, and everything was perfect, except for one tiny problem. His sister Cheryl, she's 2 years older than us. And since the moment Charlie and I started dating, she's made my life hell. You know, those mean girls from high school movies. The ones who seem to have it out for the main character for no reason. That was Cheryl. But without the redemption arc, she was absolutely vicious to me throughout high school. And honestly, not much has changed since then. Cheryl and I actually knew each other before Charlie and I started dating. I'd been friends with her brother for years, often hanging out at their house. To me, she was just some annoying older girl. Not this terrifying presence everyone else seemed to see her as. High school can be such a weird place. Right. But I never feared her. And once Charlie and I became a couple, I became even more bold. I think it drove her crazy that she couldn't intimidate me. The worst thing she ever did was put dead fish and fish water in my locker. I showed up to school one morning, opened it, and got completely covered in this disgusting, slimy mess. I had to go home to change and shower because I was so humiliated. I couldn't prove it was Cheryl, but I knew we'd had this huge argument in the cafeteria the day before where I called her a brain-dead zombie in front of her friends. Some of them actually laughed, which probably made her even more furious. Charlie confronted her about it, and they had this massive fight, but he could never get her to apologize to me. After that incident, Cheryl and I didn't speak for years, not a single word. But when Charlie and I got married last year, our in-laws pulled us both aside and basically demanded that we try to get along for the sake of family harmony. Apparently, some nosy relatives had been asking why we never interacted at family events, which embarrassed them. I'm not gonna lie, I was ready to let the past go. We're adults now. Right. So at a family dinner, we shook hands like grown-ups and agreed to be civil. We weren't going to be best friends overnight, but we could at least stop the Cold War. For a while, things seemed to be going okay. We'd say hi when we saw each other at family gatherings and then go our separate ways. I really thought we'd left all the bad blood behind us. Boy, was I wrong? A few months ago, it was my birthday, and Cheryl showed up empty-handed, which was fine. But then, while I was opening everyone else's gifts, she announced that she had actually gotten me something special cooking classes. She even pulled out her phone and showed me this online program she'd supposedly bought for me. She claimed it was a joke, but literally no one laughed. Not a single person. For context, I had spent the entire day cooking for everyone. I woke up at 6:30 a.m. to make sure everything was perfect. I love cooking. It's been my passion since I was a kid. So for her to joke that I needed cooking lessons right after eating a full meal, I prepared. It was beyond nasty. What made it worse was that she kept doubling down, saying how everything she ate was making her feel sick, and she might throw up at any moment. She even made jokes about how everyone should clear a path to the bathroom just in case. By the end of the night, I was so relieved when she left. She didn't even say goodbye. Charlie tried to make me feel better, saying everyone loved the food, but Cheryl's words really stung. I had actually started to believe she might be changing. But after that day, I knew she was still the same mean girl from high school. About 3 weeks ago, Cheryl came over to our place, looking really upset. She asked to speak to Charlie privately, and he took her into the living room. I left the room to give them privacy, but honestly, I was curious. I stood just outside the doorway and listened to their conversation. I know it wasn't right, but I couldn't help myself. From what I could gather, Cheryl was pregnant and freaking out about it. She felt completely unprepared to be a mother and was asking Charlie for advice about ending the pregnancy without her husband knowing. Charlie told her she needed to talk to her husband, that it was his right to know since they were married and it was early enough that they could discuss all options together. He wasn't comfortable helping her keep something like that from her husband. After they talked, Cheryl left. And I told Charlie what I had overheard. We both agreed she was acting strange. Why come to her brother instead of her husband with something so serious? She even said some things that made it sound like she wanted Charlie to help her secretly end the pregnancy, which he refused to do. We hadn't heard anything else about the pregnancy since that day, but it gave me an idea. Last week was Cheryl's birthday, and she had to invite me since I had invited her to mine. It would have been weird for Charlie to go without me, and she probably wanted to keep up appearances for the family. That turned out to be a huge mistake on her part. I decided to give her a taste of her own medicine. I bought her a copy of What to Expect When You're Expecting and wrapped it up nicely. I even attached a note saying Charlie and I wanted to congratulate her. I knew it was a little petty, but after what she did to me at my birthday, I felt she deserved it. I figured she'd be embarrassed, but that would be the end of it. Oh, how wrong I was. Cheryl didn't open her gifts in front of everyone at the party, which was probably lucky for me in the moment, but it didn't matter in the end. That book caused absolute chaos. The next day, Cheryl called me screaming, accusing me of trying to ruin her marriage and destroy her life. I had no idea what she was talking about. At first, she was so hysterical, I could barely understand her. She hung up before I could get any real explanation. Then my in-laws called and explained what had happened. Apparently, Cheryl had been opening gifts with her husband when she got to my present. The problem, she hadn't told anyone about the pregnancy yet. And here was this book from me with a congratulatory note. But that's not even the worst part. Her husband is sterile, something Cheryl apparently didn't know. So when this book showed up, it confirmed his suspicions that she had been cheating on him. He confronted her, and she tried to claim it was just a joke, but he wasn't buying it. Why would Charlie and I give such a specific, personal joke gift if there wasn't some truth to it? He asked her to leave, and now she's staying with her parents. My in-laws are furious with me. They think I should never have given Cheryl that book, and that I'm to blame for what's happening. They want me to talk to her husband and convince him it was just a joke. Maybe even lie to save their marriage. But honestly, I don't think I should have to take the fall for this. Cheryl shouldn't have been cheating if she wanted a peaceful marriage. It's not my fault she got caught. Charlie feels the same way, though he does think the gift might have been a bit much, even after what she did to me at my birthday. He doesn't think I should apologize to Cheryl or talk to her husband, though he says we should stay out of it since her marriage is already in jeopardy. For the past week, my in-laws have been blowing up our phones, fighting with us about it. They think that if we don't convince her husband it was just a joke, the family will suffer through a divorce. But we're pretty sure she was cheating if she was pregnant when she talked to Charlie and her husband is sterile. It's kind of obvious, right? We want nothing to do with defending her. The book was just payback for the cruel jokes she made at my birthday. I had no idea it would cause this much trouble. I don't feel guilty about it. I didn't do anything intentionally malicious. But suddenly, everyone's acting like I'm some mastermind who planned this whole thing to destroy Cheryl's life. It's bizarre, and honestly, I'm starting to question whether I went too far. Even though she absolutely deserved some payback, 2 weeks have passed since I gave Cheryl that book, and we still haven't talked to her husband. From what we've gathered, she was indeed cheating on him with another man. We're not sure who exactly, but I have a terrible feeling it might be someone from Charlie's friend group. Cheryl called us again a few days ago, screaming about how unfair it was that she was taking all the blame, while the man she cheated with wasn't facing any consequences. She wouldn't tell us who it was, just that he was one of Charlie's friends and wasn't willing to defend her. Charlie has quite a few married friends from high school, so it could be almost anyone. That's not really our main concern, though dealing with my in-laws has been exhausting. They keep insisting that I should talk to Cheryl's husband before he files for divorce. He keeps saying he's going to, but he hasn't done it yet. Who knows what he's waiting for? My in-laws think they still have time to fix things if I would just talk to him and convince him the book was just a joke. But I want nothing to do with this drama. I refuse to get caught in the middle of their mess. Yesterday, Charlie and I made a difficult decision and blocked all 3 of them, Cheryl and both in-laws. They were constantly harassing us. and we couldn't take it anymore. We can't keep trying to make them understand our perspective. Some people in the comments on my original post thought what I did was wrong, even though Cheryl was cheating. I don't think I should feel guilty about exposing her cheating. But hey, it's a free country, and people can disagree with me. 3 days ago, we finally found out who Cheryl was having an affair with. And holy shit, it's worse than I imagined. The Charlie's friend she mentioned turned out to be one of his closest friends. I'm kind of shocked because his family has been acting so irrationally throughout all this. Charlie had been complaining to his friends about how difficult things had been for the past few weeks. And I guess this friend couldn't take the guilt anymore. He called Charlie and confessed that he'd been having an affair with Cheryl. Apparently, it started about a year ago, right around the time Charlie and I got married. We're still trying to process this revelation. Charlie is extremely close with all his friends, so we never expected such a massive betrayal. What's even worse is that this guy has been married for 3 years, and his wife seems absolutely crazy about him. I know her personally. She's always talking about how amazing her husband is. Right now, I just feel terrible for her. We immediately cut this guy off, and we're not telling anyone else yet because we don't want to expose him. But we are definitely done with him. We told him he needs to tell his wife the truth herself. She deserves to know what's happening. He even sent us proof of his affair with Cheryl, screenshots and everything. We've decided that no good will come from getting more involved in this mess. So we're keeping all 3 of them blocked. As far as we know, they haven't told anyone else about what's happened. Everyone still thinks we get along with my in-laws. And Charlie's relatives don't know about the chaos unfolding behind the scenes. Given how embarrassing this would be for the family, I'm guessing they're keeping everything under wraps to protect their reputation. I guess that's their main concern, their precious image. We don't want to deal with any of them right now. And honestly, their obsession with appearances is helping us keep everything secret. We have enough on our plates without adding their drama. Charlie's cousin is getting married in a few weeks, so they'll all have to attend that wedding. We're not sure if my in-laws or Cheryl will be there, given the current circumstances. But if they do show up, it's going to be incredibly awkward for everyone involved. It's been almost 2 months since my last update. And honestly, not much has happened. We kind of forgot about my in-laws after cutting them off. And they didn't try to contact us either. We figured maybe Cheryl and her husband had worked things out since there was no pregnancy announcement or divorce news. Good for them, I guess. Charlie and I know that affairs rarely stay secret forever, so we really don't care what happens in their marriage anymore. Her husband will find out the truth eventually, and Cheryl will get what she deserves. As for the pregnancy, I assume she ended it somehow, but we didn't think about it much and just focused on our own lives. Whatever happened wasn't our concern anymore. That is, until we attended his cousin's wedding a few days ago. My in-laws were there, Cheryl's husband was there, pretty much everyone was present. When we arrived, we acted like they didn't exist, not even greeting them. The rest of the family noticed immediately. Of course, people started asking all kinds of questions, trying to be subtle about it, but we knew they were just gathering gossip. We tried to keep to ourselves to avoid any drama. Cheryl, on the other hand, decided to go a different route. She started running her mouth. And even though we knew the truth, we were prepared to tolerate her since we'd only be at the hotel for 3 days and then we could go home. But she started saying such awful things about us that we couldn't just ignore it. Unfortunately, this led to a pretty public confrontation between our families during the rehearsal dinner. It was someone else's wedding, and I felt terrible about it. Charlie and his cousin are really close. And now, one of the wedding events was completely ruined because of us. Naturally, after such a scene, we had to leave before the wedding even started because we couldn't stay. We've since apologized multiple times to his cousin, and she says she's fine with it. But we still feel awful about what happened. Cheryl and my in-laws were the ones causing all the drama. Yet they barely bothered apologizing to Charlie's cousin. At least we left voluntarily. I heard later that other family members practically had to force them to leave after we departed. Serves them right. Honestly, It was pretty satisfying when Charlie's cousin told him about it the day before her wedding while we were calling to apologize. Apparently, Cheryl had been telling everyone who would listen that we had tried to destroy her marriage by lying about her affair. She claimed we had failed in our attempts to sabotage her relationship. That was obviously untrue since, as I mentioned, we don't really think about her marriage at all. If her husband chose to stay with a woman like her, that was his mistake. We were even willing to let that slide since we were at someone else's wedding and didn't want to cause a scene. But then Cheryl started claiming that we were the ones in an open marriage and that I wanted to get close to her husband, which was why I'd always been so jealous of her. We couldn't let that lie stand. We decided to confront her then and there. I mentioned all the evidence, the screenshots we'd received from Charlie's friend that I'd been holding on to. Charlie and I felt it was finally time to defend ourselves. She couldn't just say whatever she wanted and get away with it. Her husband couldn't ignore the truth anymore. At least now he knows it. Whether he makes the right decision for himself and leaves her is up to him. At least now there's no more question about what happened. We left on our own terms, with dignity. Unlike them, who practically got kicked out. We're still trying to move past it. But it was a really awful few days. The whole family knows what Cheryl is like. So I just feel sorry for her husband for choosing to stay with her even after learning the truth. And I hope he finds the courage to leave her. If he decides to stay, then he has no self-respect. We finally decided to go ahead and actually do what Cheryl had been accusing us of for so long, sabotage her marriage. She's going to have to pay for trying to bully us. I don't know how she thought she could get away with all this. But since high school, Charlie and I have been standing up to her. We've made it clear we're not afraid of her. And we weren't about to back down now. She should have known that. So it's actually happening. 2 weeks have passed since we returned from Charlie's cousin's wedding. And today, I finally heard from a couple of cousins that Cheryl and her husband are getting divorced. She posted something about it being a mutual decision to split up and asked everyone to respect their privacy during this difficult time. What a load of crap. She's acting like people weren't there at the wedding. Like her entire family doesn't know what really happened and the real reason they're divorcing. I'm not sure why she's pretending we don't all know the truth. But whatever, we'll definitely be respecting her privacy. No one needs to ask her what happened. The word started spreading when Charlie told some of his friends. So even Cheryl's friends have found out by now. I regret nothing about what we did. She had been spreading so many lies about us that I don't feel the slightest bit guilty about what happened or about what's happening to her now. If she wants to go low, we'll go lower. Period. She's always been a bully, and I think we did the right thing. Someone needed to take her down a peg, and we're happy to be the ones who did it. If that makes some people see us as the bad guys, that's fine with us. My in-laws, for example, have completely cut us off. They even had their lawyer contact Charlie to let him know they've decided to disown us and will probably cut us out of their wills too. Like we were going to hear that and suddenly start begging for forgiveness. That's not going to happen. We're not some money-hungry sellouts who can be bought. Besides, since Cheryl hasn't worked since graduating college and has been depending on either her parents or her husband, they should probably keep all their money to support her for the rest of her life. So yes, they can keep their money and Cheryl too. We did what we believe was right, and we're not going to pretend we're sorry about it. Right now, Charlie and I are really happy with our lives. We don't need anyone else. Looking back, maybe giving Cheryl that pregnancy book was a bit much. But she absolutely had it coming after years of treating me like dirt. Sometimes karma needs a little push, you know. And if that push comes in the form of a seemingly innocent gift that exposes an affair, so be it. Cheryl thought she could continue being the same bully she was in high school. But she learned the hard way that actions have consequences. I don't feel bad about what happened, not really. She made her choices, and now she has to live with them. As for us, we're moving on with our lives, happier than ever, without all that toxicity dragging us down. Sometimes the best revenge is living well, and that's exactly what we plan to do.